I started on a very cheery note last week, Scott, and I'm going to start on a cheery note again this week. Sorry, I realised today it's 20 years since you played for Chelsea with Frank Lampard. That made me feel about 100 years old.
Similar. We feel the same. Yeah, so a long time ago, obviously, me and Frank played together, and obviously after that moved on. I moved on, but obviously was around Frank with England as well, really. So massive respect, and not only just as a player for Frank, it was very clear the quality. I think we all know. I don't need to sit here and explain that, but just generally Frank, what he is, what he's about, really. So. And he's doing very, very well now as well, to be fair. And he's done very well in a short space of time in his career, probably similar to myself. So, yeah.
When you were playing 20 years ago, at that point when you were playing together, when did you develop the interest in, I want to coach, I want to work with players, I want to manage? Is that something that came early? Did it come late?
Probably come late-ish. I say late-ish, probably early in probably a lot of players what are playing, because your main focus is playing and you don't really have any sight on the after side of things. I suppose me and Frank were midfield players, really, so we was players that probably took more notice or more attention to the detail of things in the middle of the park, where you probably see both sides of the game, really. You can have an understanding of a back unit and what they're feeling, obviously an attacking side of it as well. So, but yeah, regarding myself, really, it was probably 30 years of age when I was at Spurs, was when I first started to have an interest, and then went into my coaching badges then. And I'm sure, yeah, Frank was very, very much similar.
Yeah, when you were a younger player, like in that Chelsea dressing room, or obviously subsequently in your career, did you have characters that you went, I think he'll be a coach, I think he can see the game, he's one of those guys who stands up in the changing room and speaks before the manager does? Was that quite common? Yeah,
it's very common, and you probably have an idea. Definitely, you have an idea in every changing room you go in, or you're around certain players. There's certain players that show a certain leadership quality, which obviously you need when you sit in a position as a manager. And then there's obviously players what are more engaged in the more details of things, and sometimes them details can be I shouldn't say boring, but them details sometimes are a bit picky, or you need to invest a little bit and have a real understanding of it. And you often find that there's certain players that are really interested in the tactical side of things and how that works. So yeah, I think there's definitely a clear idea of the ones what will probably become coaches or go into coaching.
Has that leadership gene, for want of a better phrase, has it changed? Has leadership in football changed? Do you have characters in your current dressing room that you can go back to your own playing days and see similarities?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely can. There's players in this changing room that I definitely can look to, and I see similar traits. I think leadership is something that you can work on as well, really. I was never, from my side as a young player, I was never the one at such a young experience. All you're worrying about is trying to breathe and trying to stay in a football team, and you develop them leadership qualities as time goes, by watching other people, and by just maybe there's some sort of naturalness to it for sure. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's changed much. Definitely the change room's changed for sure. The change room's changed, and how you approach things and how players approach things today is probably, there's a lot of differences in that, but for large parts there's still players with traits what I see, what we had, and how it always is, really.
How pivotal are those characters? I'm sure they're very important all the time, but how pivotal are they when you're getting towards the conclusion of something, when there's a tangible prize at the end of the season?
Massive, yeah, massive. You get to a point in the season where we are now, and 7 games left. You're on that last push now, and I think I've always referenced it many times since we sat here throughout this season about being stable, about having an understanding of how certain things may look certainly in run-ins, and for sure them experienced guys, them ones what are not just experienced and have got the t-shirt, them guys that really can voice things, lead other players, listen, and obviously it's an infectious, and their whole demeanour and their whole communication to it is one that people listen to, are vitally important for me, because You know, as a coach, there's one voice, and you probably have an understanding of what it looks like. There's nothing more powerful than having a group in there, or certainly certain players in there that can help push that message as well.
You've got younger players in there as well. Have you had enough time now around this group of players to be able to observe those changes, to be able to observe the ones who might have been quieter or might have been less confident actually coming to the fore in that changing room?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's the first thing you do really, or certainly large parts of my work, as much as they're on the training ground and trying to develop players for a tactical or technical element. There's also large parts that I'm constantly analysing behaviours and how I see certain players. Can I encourage certain players? Can I get them to a level that, you know, I want to put them in certain situations on a personality level and try and develop a bit more of a leader. I think I have an idea now. I've been in here now 7 or 8 months, so I have an idea of that for sure. And yeah, as always, their progress is what you want to constantly keep ticking along, as well as you want to improve players in terms of a football sense. You also want to improve them as human beings, really, and give them a real insight into the world they're going into, and the ups and downs, the bumps, and the sort of stableness that you're going to need, really, to survive.
Is there a bit of dad mode kicks in?
It probably is a little bit, yeah, no doubt. Definitely the case. I think there's, for sure, there's that. You spend so much time with a group that there's probably an element of me that, first and foremost, I protect them like my life depends on it, to be quite honest with you. And also, there's something in me that I want to help, and I want to try and nurture, I want to try and improve, and I want to try and round off, however old they are, a 19-year-old, I want to try and round off and try and give them as much experience as what I've had, to help them throughout this year and their career, really.
How much as a group are they improving and continuing to improve?
Yeah, improving no end. Yeah, I mean, I think I keep saying this and I keep referencing in terms of the job the lads have done from where we were. The improvement's been very, very drastic and very, very quick. It's been very steep, and that's just full credit to the group we have, really. There's been hours upon hours of work that's gone in. These players have always been very responsive, very understanding, always wanting to improve. And that journey sometimes can take a long time, and we're still in them phases where there's large elements we need to improve. But, you know, when the season's long gone and dusted, and we all reflect over it, I think the biggest thing is that how quickly this team have come together, how quickly this team have took certain elements, some elements much quicker than others. But I'm starting to see a real full-rounded group, understanding every phase, defensive, attacking, set plays, which, yeah, is very pleasing.
It's getting exciting at that top of the table for us, sitting here on the easy side watching it. How do you see it? Do you have to tell your players not to focus on it? Do you mind them being sort of excited and engaged in it?
Oh, no, I want them excited. I'm excited. We're all excited. I think that's probably one of the biggest words we are constantly using in meetings every time I approach this team. We've gone into this season now with however many games we've played, and we're operating in and around where we wanted to be. And, you know, these seasons move very, very quick. We have to, and we are absolutely excited about where we've put ourselves, the race we're in, and we've done that through the quality we have, the hard work we've done. We've got 7 games left now. We will attack this like we've attacked every part of this season with absolute full commitment and an excitement about it, where we're in this and we will understand we're in this, and we're going to give absolutely everything to try and be successful this year.
If you win all your games, you'll do it. I know it's not going to be that straightforward, but is it nice that it's in your hands?
Honestly, I'm not too bothered about it. It's in our hands, it ain't in our hands. My main focus is Coventry, and it's been that for all this year. Every single game, game 10, game 8, it was the same. We, you know, of course, early on in the season, you're trying to develop certain things, certain game model. You're probably more of a focus on that. We've done a large bulk of work. The main focus now is Coventry. We go to Coventry, we give the best version of ourselves, we prep right this week, and we go and bring over the best version of ourselves and try and execute a game that we go and win, and that one's ticked off. 6 left. let's go into wherever we're going next. I couldn't even tell you where it is at this present moment in time. And we go there and we try and do exactly the same. And that's the main focus. There's no looking down the road for us or what others are doing. Absolutely irrelevant. Keep bringing the best version of ourselves, which we've done for large parts. Numbers suggest that. Our form suggests that. We need to just make sure we're still on that track, really.
And Coventry well and truly in the mix in those playoff places. Yeah. I guess that tells us everything we need to know about the challenge you face.
Of course, another tough challenge. We come out of Bristol game, another tough challenge there. Another team that were going for playoff spot. Coventry exactly the same. Frank's gone in, done an incredible job, and they're on a really good run and a good form, really. So, look, there's a challenge there ahead of us, Dan, but I couldn't tell you a fixture coming up what ain't going to be a challenge. This is where we are now in the season. Teams have got things to play for, relegation, playoffs, and we are obviously on our journey to try and do what we need to do as well.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Dan.
Hi Scott, it's a busy week, isn't it? Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, then you've got the Easter doubleheader as well. You must have confidence in your side though, the way they especially dealt with it over that Christmas period.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, look, I think for large parts this year, when games have come thick and fast, and they have come thick and fast, and they do in this division, we seem to, we can do what we need to do. Really, look, physically, we're in a great place. Physically, we're the top team in this division, really. So we're in a good place like that. And yeah, Easter or before that as well, games come thick and fast. We'll prepare as always.
Yeah, Daniel Farke said he was 100% convinced Leeds will be in the Premier League next season. Are you a bit surprised by those comments? Seem quite bold and out of character for him.
You wouldn't expect me to. No, it's no interest really. That's Daniel, and respect Daniel immensely, and I'm sure he understands his quality in his team, which they are a very, very good side. So that's how Daniel felt. So yeah, I wouldn't want to comment on that too much, mate.
Just on Luca Kogliosho, he looked like he was quite frustrated coming off on Saturday. Do you have a bit of sympathy for him? The season, on a personal level, hasn't really gone how he would have liked.
Yeah, I have sympathy for Luca. There's no denying it's been a bit of a stop-start season. At times has been difficult due to a few little injuries and other little things that have cropped up. The form of the team and the players in them positions have obviously been playing very well, which has limited not just Luca but other players that I'm obviously disappointed for in one aspect, because the quality and the form that some are in, is very hard for me to change that around. And but yeah, frustration's all part of it. I wouldn't want it any other way. You wouldn't want players walking off clapping their hands and buzzing at the fact they're not playing football. Every player in this squad wants to play football. And it's a tough decision for me that I have 11 spots to pick and some on the bench, and at times some have to miss out really. So yeah, he's a young lad, Luke, still loads of improvement, and probably his first full season really. Last year obviously come in and had an injury, so it's been his first real full campaign, and in probably understanding the road and the journey of what a full season looks like.
And just on the injury front, anything new to report?
Nothing new. No, we're in. Everyone. Ramsey plays again. We'll get some minutes tomorrow. I think it is. Yes, tomorrow, Friday. So yeah, we're all good other than that, mate.
Hi Scott. Obviously the fans are going to travel in the numbers again at Coventry. How big could they be in this run-in?
It'll be massive for us. Absolutely massive. And travelling supporters and home supporters are going to be key, really. So the last few months, our stadium's been pretty electric, really, and I felt every bit of it. I felt every bit of the atmosphere, the support, and we're going to need this fan base, which they have been for large parts this year. Really, they've been a driving force behind us. I think everyone walking in our fan base and from afar, even seeing this group, I think there's one thing what you cannot deny is this group of boys what run out there, boys what come on, absolutely give their all for this shirt. And I always say I can always fault someone through a lack of quality in certain moments or a certain mistake. If there's one thing you can never fault them for is the effort they actually give, and I think our fans fully appreciate that, really. And like I said, we're going to need every single one of them leading in, from away fans to home fans this year.
And just on Jaden Anthony, obviously a player who you've worked with before, but this season Have you seen anything different from him? Maybe become a bit more sort of on his journey, or is it just a case of you knew all along what he would bring to the team?
No, I always knew what he'd bring. I've worked with him, so I had a real understanding of what Jaden would bring. I've definitely seen someone more mature, more confident, definitely, and just seeing him add layers to his game, really. So yeah, there's a player that is constantly improving, and certainly more levels. I thought he was exceptional the weekend. Missed a couple of big chances, and Jay will be the first to sit here and say that. But I just thought his general game, how positive he was. He drove a front line at the weekend, really always committing and showing a real intent, and was for large parts around anything in that attacking third, along with the other boys up there. So really pleased with him.
Thank you.
Cheers.